Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Helen with ADU1. We're part of One Structural. Our divisions are Retrofit 1, ADU1, and Balcony 1. So we do a lot of services for multifamily properties as well as single family. Our specialties are seismic retrofitting, accessory dwelling units, and balcony inspections and repairs. So thank you for joining us today. We are continuing our City Spotlight series. Today we will be doing the ADU rules for Hermosa Beach. And if you're coming from our email blast, even if your property is not in Hermosa Beach, most of these rules still apply to you regardless. I'll point out, of course, any of the particular ones that are just for Hermosa Beach, but most of them are the same across California. There's usually per city only a couple of varying details, such as maybe the configurations that they allow, if they allow both, sometimes height limits and so forth. But I will point that out, so please stick around even if your building is not in Hermosa Beach. And afterwards, I will do a brief segment on SB 326 and SB 721, which apply to condominiums and HOAs, as well as all apartment buildings with 3 or more units, that you must get your exterior elevated elements, such as balconies, inspected. So stick around at the end. I'll go into that. Excuse my whatever this filter or the background thing is doing to my hair and body. I am here, and it's just the background that isn't picking up all of me. So I look very ethereal. So I will begin by sharing my screen, and we will go over the Hermosa Beach Municipal Code. And if you have any questions at any time, please ask them. I think it's to the right on your screen. You can ask them in the chat, and I will either check in periodically while I'm sharing my screen, or I will see them after and right before I start the balconies. So here we go. All right, hopefully you can see that. I will check in. Yes, you can. I'll see how I can enlarge it for you. It might be a little better. Oops. Here we are. Let me see if that is a little better for you. Yeah, perfect. All right, so again, this is taken from Hermosa Beach's municipal code. If you need to find it on your own, just type in Hermosa Beach accessory dwelling units, and make sure you click the URL that is specifically from Hermosa Beach's either code website or something related to their planning department. There are a lot of other websites out there that kind of do some brief summaries. However, I have yet to see them really capture any of the varying details that each city has. They're more general and just kind of copied across the board. So just make sure you're specifically on your city's website, or just ask us and we will help you. So I will go into both single family homes and multifamily properties. Our specialty is multifamily properties. So I will be going over the differences for both of those properties and what ADUs you can do. So let's see. All righty. And I'm only going to go over really the relevant stuff that has to do with what you can build, basically. Everything else we kind of deal with on our end on the engineering and planning side. Let's see. All right, so they allow it, just like all cities in California, ADUs are permitted on any zone that allows residential development. In Hermosa Beach, you are not allowed to do it in mobile home parks. So far, I haven't seen any city that would allow that. Let's see. So if you have a single family home, you can do one ADU, and that is whether it's a conversion, so conversion of existing space, such as a garage, or conversion of a detached space, or just new construction. So no matter where or what style of ADU you're doing on a single family home, you can have one ADU. You can also do a junior ADU. However, the reason it's saying it's only one here is because in terms of conversions, you can only do one of them. So a conversion for a single family home has to be within the space of the single family home, or an accessory structure such as a garage, carport, storage room, something like that. Has to have its own exterior access. And it does have to have in Hermosa Beach side and rear setbacks that are sufficient for your fire codes and so forth. Normally, when you are converting a space, they allow you to keep the current setbacks if it's on the property line. I noticed though some coastal cities may not allow that. They may, it really depends. It's on a case by case basis, but normally converting an existing legal space, you're fine to keep its existing setbacks. Let's see. If you have a single family home and you're going to do a detached ADU, you can do a detached ADU, and then that's when you're allowed, because we get a lot of questions about what are these junior ADUs. So a junior ADU is similar to how it sounds. It's a junior ADU. You're capped at 500 square feet, which I'm sure they will do the same. So this is for all of California, but it has to be part of the existing or proposed single family home. It can't be detached. It can't be new construction or anything like that. It has to be part of the existing space, capped at 500 square feet. There's also owner occupancy requirements for your junior ADUs. So Hermosa Beach is basically doing exactly what I've seen most cities, about 90% of cities doing. If you want to do both, your ADU must be detached from your house. Then you can convert. If you have like an attached garage, you can convert that to the junior ADU and then do a detached ADU. You cannot have both the ADU and junior ADU as part of the single family dwelling. They have to be separate from each other. So that's what this is saying. So if you're only going to do a conversion, that's all you're going to do. You can do either the ADU or junior ADU. If you want both, then the conversion within your existing house can be the junior ADU, and then your ADU must be separate and detached. And let's see. And normally, I'm sure it'll get into this too. Normally, the setbacks for a detached, especially new construction detached, are 4 feet side and rear. There is usually minimum of 6 foot building separation. However, if they require 10 or 15, I will let you know. Let's see. So that's the rules for single family in terms of quantity. You can do one ADU and one junior ADU, but the junior ADU has to be a conversion within the home. On a multifamily lot, so this is duplexes up, you can do, let me see, you cannot exceed 25%, which is the rule across California. So you're permitted at least one. So if you have a duplex, triplex, fourplex, 7 units, you can do at least one attached, which is an internal conversion for multifamily dwellings. The difference between multifamily dwelling rules and single family across the board for California is that you cannot do new construction and attach it to the building. So it's the same for Hermosa Beach. The language of attached just means internal conversions. You can't change the building. So you can just do attached, aka internal conversions, or detached units. As far as the internal conversions go, you cannot exceed 25%. So this is when it kicks in after 8 units. If you have an 8-unit building, you can then convert up to 2 ADUs. If you have a 12-unit building, you can convert up to 3 ADUs and so forth. If you have 16 units, you can convert up to 4 units and so forth. The fractions are rounded down. So if you have a 17-unit building, you can just do 4. And then here is something specific to Hermosa Beach that I will say. So I guess this is kind of good. I mean, it's neutral. So they do allow up to 2 detached ADUs. This is aside from your attached, those internal conversions. However, this is when this is very specific to Hermosa Beach. What they are saying here is that yes, you can do up to 2 detached. However, you can only do that up to 2 detached if you are not doing conversions. If you want to do both, then you're limited to up to 2 units total. So you can do 1 conversion and 1 detached. So it's saying that here on D1, the total number of ADUs on the property, including conversion of spaces, shall not exceed 2. So if you are going to be utilizing both configurations, even if you have a 16 unit building and you have a backyard with maybe tuck under parking or storage or something like that, you will be capped at 2 ADUs total for your entire property. Okay. It seems like you're still permitted to do your 25% rule for the internal conversions as long as you're not doing detached. So again, if you have a 16 unit property, from what I'm reading and from what I'm understanding, you can still do the 4. However, if you also then want to use both configurations, that's when they're going to cap you up to 2. I can clarify for you with planning if you have a Hermosa Beach property, but that's what I'm understanding here, that the cap of 2 comes in when you are using both configurations. And then it's also just saying if you have one complex, but with like many buildings, they're going to consider it one lot. So it's not a per building thing in terms of how many you can do. Let's see, luckily no minimum lot area. So anyways, that covers it for your multifamily quantity, the 25% for internal conversions, up to 2 detached. But if you want to use both, you're capped at 2. This is another thing particular to Hermosa Beach, single story only for your detached ADUs. So if you do have a large yard or anything like that, it is limited to 1 story, 16 feet. If you are doing an attached ADU, it comes down to being deferred to your zoning. Let's see, setbacks. Here is where they discuss the conversions, which is great. No additional setbacks needed. So I know we mentioned that it has to meet fire code and all of that. But again, normally if it's already a legal and permitted structure and you're converting it, you can keep its setbacks as is. If you need to demo, let's say you have a detached structure. So this is what number 2 is talking about. If you have to demo it because it's in bad condition, you are permitted to rebuild it and replace its exact footprint. You don't have to change the setbacks for that as long as you're doing it for the purpose of ADUs. The setbacks kick in when it is a new construction detached ADU. That's when you must meet either the zoning setback or 4 feet, whichever is less. Normally, then in this case, whichever is less would be 4 feet. I have yet to see others, at least in new codes, be less. I guess sometimes it's 2 for accessory structures. However, it's safe to say 4 feet mentally if you're trying to plan for it, 4 feet for your setbacks. Now the size, let's see. So the sizing is when it comes very specific to the city, but I will discuss any differences in case you're watching and your property is not in Hermosa Beach. So this is something very specific. Maximum size 850 for studio 1 bedroom, 1,000 for 2. Actually, no, I've been seeing that so often. So again, I typically ignore the smaller cap because again, I have yet to see any customer of ours that have requested a studio that's 1,000 square feet or 1 bedroom. Normally you want to maximize what you can, especially if you're going to use it for rental income. So the cap is 1,000 square feet with a cap at 2 bedrooms. So Hermosa Beach does have a max of 2 bedrooms. I feel like a city that I recently did also said that. Maybe it was West Hollywood or something. I mean, you can challenge them if you feel like it. I don't think we would personally because the city's still allowed to put their own rules, but they are capping you at 2 bedrooms, 1,000 square feet for your ADU. Single family homes for an attached ADU. This is across the board for California. You're always limited to 50% of your existing square footage. So if you have a 1,000 square foot house and you do new construction and attach it to the home, you're limited to 500 square feet, and so forth. If you have a 1,600 square foot home, then you're limited to 800 square feet. And then here is where it says the JADU, so which is that junior ADU that can only be part of an internal conversion in a single family home. JADUs are not permitted in multifamily properties. But if you want the JADU, you're limited to 500 square feet, as well as it has to be part of the existing structure. Let's see. Fire sprinklers, this is the same rule everywhere. It's only required if it's required in your primary residence. And then Hermosa Beach does not allow rooftop decks. Somewhere I am seeing that it's allowed in Santa Monica. So if you have a property there, check out my Santa Monica video. I think I did one. However, in Hermosa Beach, it is not permitted. And then everything else seems like it's the stuff on our end. Obviously, we'll design it with a kitchen, and we know all of these rules already. Parking. No parking required for junior ADUs. And you're exempt from needing parking. So in this case, they do say one is required. However, you're exempt if you are located within a half mile of public transit, like a bus stop. This is all across California. If you're in a historical district, you're exempt. And if you convert a garage or carport for the purpose of an ADU, you do not have to replace those parking spots either. I will say here, if you are within the coastal zone, it is a case-by-case basis on whether or not they will make you replace parking or add parking. So we will let you know, and we will work with the Coastal Commission if your property is within that zone. Let's see, I believe that is it. And then I guess lastly, just to recap for the junior ADUs, there is a owner occupancy requirement. So the owner has to live in either the house or the junior ADU if you do one of those. And I believe that's to prevent a single family home from becoming a triplex and all of it becoming being rented out, basically. So that is it. That is it for Hermosa Beach single family and multifamily rules for ADUs. If you have any questions, feel free to enter it in the chat. If your property is in Hermosa Beach, just reach out to us here and we can help you, especially if it's in the coastal zone or you have any other questions or anything like that. I will now just verbally get into SB 326 and SB 721, the balcony inspection laws. So this was created in 2019 due to the tragic event that happened, I believe it was in 2015 in Berkeley when a balcony collapsed and many students died. So because of this, there is now a balcony inspection law that applies to condo owners, HOAs, condo communities, and as well as apartment buildings with 3 or more units. If you have exterior elevated elements, which are balconies, walkways, stairways, catwalks, anything like that protrude out of the building and are at least 6 feet from the ground, you must get those inspected. Even if you have a recessed balcony, you must get those handrails inspected. And this is to test for all the waterproofing, the flashings, joists, any rotting, anything like that within the internal structure of your balcony, deck, or walkway. A lot of the times this isn't just visually you can't just walk by and see that there is water damage. A lot of the times, of course, you can, but we do certain testing with cameras that go inside of the deck or the walkway or the balcony and moisture readings to make sure that the internal components of the structure are not water damaged or at risk for collapsing or anything like that. A lot of the times you can see certain damage, you could see cracks, you can see water damage. So if you do see that, I highly suggest getting an inspection right away. And the difference between the HOAs or condos and the apartment buildings again, with 3 or more units, you only have to get 15% of each element inspected. So if you have 10 balconies, 10 walkways, 10 stairways, you have to do 15% of each. You don't have to do them all. Of course, though, if visually they all look, damaged or anything like that, we would highly suggest looking at all of them. However, if they're in, decent condition, you have to get 15% of them inspected. For HOAs and condos, there has to be a 95% certainty on all of your elements. So we go out there, we do first a walkthrough, and we let you know how many and which elements we will have to inspect. After the inspection, we provide you with a full report that it has a breakdown of all of the items that we inspected, all of the elements, moisture readings, photos, everything like that, because that report is what you have to keep on file. So if you have a building with any balconies, any water damage, anything like that, again, must get them inspected. You have to get them inspected every 6 years. But the city is sending out some notices now, actually, especially for condos and other apartments, to get them inspected sooner than that with certain deadlines. So if you've received a notice or you want to jump on board, just give us a call. You can, our number is 323 balcony, which is specific for balconies, but we're all the same company. So you can reach us even at this number and email here for your balcony inspection. So that does it for today's City Spotlight and Balcony Inspection webinar. Again, I'm Helen with ADU1. We provide both phases that you need as far as the ADUs go and the balconies, actually. For your ADUs, we provide both the engineering, which is your structural and architectural design and plans. We submit it to the city and do your full scope construction. For your balconies, we do the full inspection, visual inspection, minimally invasive inspections, as well as if they do have to get repaired, we do the repairs as well. We are licensed contractors, licensed plumbers, as well as we have in-house engineering. So that does it for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Give us a call or email if you have any questions or would like to meet at your property to add some ADUs and increase that monthly income. I will see you next time. Have a great week. Thank you, everybody.